Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Assess Bushcraft and Survival. I'm Bushcraft.
And I'm Survival. And today we're going to discuss preparing for a bushfire.
Alright, so obviously here out in Australia, something that is of great concern and very topical at this time of year for us, considering that it is summer, is bushfires, or known in the Northern Hemisphere as wildfires. There are a lot of guys that we have here in Australia that live out in the bush, out in the more rural areas, or even down on the fringes of urban society, that can be greatly affected by out of control fires, either set by arsonists or perhaps naturally occurring through combustion. And what we wanted to talk about today was how one might set themselves up to prepare and plan for such an event if they find themselves in it.
Well, having grown up on a farm, one of the first things we always did in the lead up to fire season was we'd do controlled burn-offs whilst it was still wet enough that there wasn't any real fire danger. And what this did is reduce available fuel. Another thing we did is we ensured that trees that had died, as well as deadfall, were limited and kept to an area, not crossing any fire breaks. One of the most essential things to have is a good fire break between you and your residents. This includes machinery sheds, good water supply on hand, check that the fire pump was operating nicely so you could pump water from the dam and use to fight a fire. Ensure the tractor was working, because tractors, like bulldozers, they're great for helping fight fires, and they're extremely essential, and you want to make sure they're able to work when you want them to, not go, oh, it's not working, I'm stuffed.
Yeah, no, 100%. For those that are closer to city centres or out in larger country towns, things that are, I suppose you should be doing anyway, but can really be helpful, is making sure that gutters, for example, are kept clear of leaf litter, making sure that any grass that might have been cut or trees that have been fallen that maybe at one stage were left to pile up at one area of the property have been removed or appropriately disposed of. I guess also just having on hand items inside the house that can stop fires from becoming something small into a whole house burning down, and then obviously turning into a whole block burning down if the wind is right. So fire blankets, fire extinguishers, hoses close to the house that are operating appropriately. I guess that really works. Also, I guess working with your local emergency support team. So now, in our case, we've got the SES, making sure that you understand their appropriate procedures, the things that they can help you with. Having a plan in place as well. So if the fire does get out of control, I mean, we talked about on the channel before bugging in or bugging out. Sometimes it's the case that you've got the opportunity to help and assist and fight the fire if it is encroaching on your property. So again, that might be a case of having appropriate water on hand to help, buckets or hoses. But if the fire is that out of control, having a plan for escape, having a time for escape, having all of your items, whether they're, in this case, personal possessions as well, are very important. Having those all in an appropriate place so you can eject yourself from the situation at the time that's required.
One thing that's important to remember is it's better to leave early than it is to leave late.
Yeah.
Leave too late, you'll get caught in the fire and you'll perish. Leave early, you can at least come back.
Yeah. It's an amazing feat, fire. I mean, it's something that really, since early man, has progressed to understand it has been a requirement. I mean, you pretty much use it every day when you're cooking your food and the like. We use, in the winter time, various forms of heating elements and that to keep us warm. And any number of those creates a danger. And I think if you ever decided to look on YouTube at how quickly a fire can spread in the household, it's even faster when the conditions are right. It's a 35-degree day. Out in the bush, there just happens to be an amount of leaf litter available, and something can spontaneously ignite. Then if the wind picks it up, gives it enough oxygen, you've got all the makings there of a really bad situation. And they can move very quickly. I mean, there are some fires that we've been getting out here in Australia that they'll cover kilometres, and
It's like if we go back a few years, Black Saturday, lightning started a fire. Some arsonists helped it along in other areas, and due to extreme deadfall build-up, 2 entire towns were wiped out.
yeah. Also, actually, now that I think about it, when you are out in the bush and it does happen to be, a particularly sunny or hot day, make sure that you're paying attention to what your local services are saying in terms of fire danger rating. I know that here in Australia we've got a very well-maintained communication network when it comes to fire dangers locally and statewide. There are particular areas that we might like to visit to enjoy nature that at any one point in time will give you an update on whether or not you're able to have a campfire or a bonfire and the like there, just for the fact that they're trying to keep you and all the people you're with, as well as the neighbouring towns and homes safe. On a note for controlled burns survival, we normally don't undertake those personally unless it's to protect your personal property. Those are normally taken care of by SES, is it?
No, usually it's a fire service, but that's only on public land.
Yeah.
Private property is your responsibility, not theirs. Check your local regulations and get permits if required.
Yeah. But guys, I guess that's really about it. Just respect what it is that's out there. Fire is it's a great tool, but at the same time, it presents a good hazard, whether it be locally in the home or when you're out in the bush. Make sure that you're observing all of those things that are of importance that we've mentioned. Keeping items on hand like water and buckets and hoses and the like, and just be responsible.